Hello guys and welcome to Scotty Hall on YouTube. Today's video is going to be about my viewing of all 7 games of the NBA Finals and how I feel it's biased and theatrics now and just scripted version of basketball and what the NBA used to be. And I think that the title of this video sums it all up. The NBA Finals as bad as the WWE. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching. We will start the video off by the offensive juggernaut, and everybody knows this name. He's a household name in the NBA. Michael Jordan. Played for the Chicago Bulls for so long, won 6 championships, and it was during the prime age of basketball. Everybody was watching. Everybody was liking it. They followed Jordan. He was a mega conglomerate billionaire, and everybody was watching it. Also, there was a guy in wrestling named Hulk Hogan, which is the equivalent of Michael Jordan in his own profession, which is basketball, and Hogan's is wrestling. And then you have David Stern, which is the commissioner of basketball. He doesn't have to answer to nobody. He's his own boss. He runs the show, which you go back to Vince McMahon, the leader of the WWE, the chairman of the board. He doesn't have to answer to anybody. He runs the show the way he wants to. So you have a run of everybody watching the NBA. Everybody was happy. Nobody questioned the outcome. They just thought it was good, hard play, and it was back then. It's not that way anymore. And then Jordan ran his course. He won the championships. He got everything he wanted. So did Hogan. He won all the WrestleManias. He ran his course in WWE. And Jordan with the Chicago Bulls, he was great. Hogan was great. And then it got a little stagnant. Jordan leaves the NBA, so people quit watching. He decides to go play baseball. Hogan's contract ran out in WWE. He was wanting to make movies, and he was thinking about giving up wrestling. So Jordan goes and plays baseball. Hogan does the movie thing, and then they decide that, well, David Stern and Vince McMahon were like, oh my God, where are my ratings? Nobody's watching anymore. Nobody's holding a candle to these guys. These are my big money makers. I need to get them back. So David Stern decides to call Jordan and tell him to come back and play for the Wizards. Ask him to. He said, we're losing money. We need you back. Even if you can't play as good as you used to be, you will draw, come back, sell some tickets, help us get back on track, and then you can retire. Just sign a 2 or 3 year deal with the Wizards, and we'll make it happen. Eric Bischoff decides to sign Hulk Hogan in WCW, and Vince McMahon gets tired of it. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't have anything to run with it. So with Jordan coming back to the NBA, he thinks that David Stern thinks that it's going to make everybody watch again. So Hogan goes to WCW. He turns heel. So really, Jordan is a heel to the Chicago fans for turning against him, because he had a record-setting moment when he hit the shot over Brian Russell in '98. That was the picture-perfect 17-footer to end it all. He went out on top. He won the championship. Hogan could have left it, hung it up, but no, he decides to go to WCW and turn heel. So everybody started watching wrestling again, because they're like, oh man, Hogan, we got to watch it. We got to watch it. And then it just went from there. After they left, they couldn't keep it going. They couldn't keep it going. And Jordan and everybody just couldn't do it anymore. They tried to hire other people. They had other players, but they wasn't really doing any good. So that really hurt wrestling and really hurt the NBA. Then you come to the post Jordan era. and the Post Hogan Era in the WWE and NBA. The Post Jordan Era in the NBA was just really a rough time for the NBA and David Stern, because if you noticed, the rule changes started changing because it had to make the reasons the rules were so tight was to stop Jordan and to make people play on the perimeter and things like that. Just it really played to Jordan's strengths, and it made it out to be that's what people wanted to see. And in Hogan, everybody wanted to see him win all the time, so they had to figure out which way to replace it. And they were losing ratings so bad that they had to change the whole game. They had to change the whole game in wrestling too. So they decided to go after Steve Austin and The Rock to counter Hogan, to make up for him. So they had a run of that for a long time. And then you get the Allen Iverson coming into the league, and people started getting a pop because they were comparing him to Jordan. So they started actually watching again because Allen Iverson was taking over. This little guy was just going crazy. And then you got The Rock in WWE, which is like Kobe Bryant in the NBA. So now you have an alternative to the Jordan and the Hogan. Then you actually have something that you think is going to work, but you had to do all these rule changes and all these just touch fouls and things that of this nature to make the other people seem as if they were good, and they're not as good as what Jordan was. So it opened up a whole new possibility for this weak kind of playing and soft people playing big men status. And Kobe and them were taking just trying to take over, and the refs and people were trying to pull people in because Dave Stern has the refs in his pocket. It's just ridiculous how far his reach is. It's just he started having the refs rig up games to where it got certain playoff people in the spots to have rivalries, and he started making fake rivalries. So he would have it set up to where the Sixers would meet the Lakers in the finals because it would bring revenue and money. And Vince would have The Rock fight Austin to bring money and ratings. So the refs start calling the games and shaving points, and refs even had betting on games and everything like that just to get these guys into the playoffs together, so it brings ratings and so that people would start watching again. And it's sad to see how they did this and how they let it go and ruin the game. They ruined the game by doing this, and Vince ruined the game by doing this. And now with all the rule changes, we come to the big climax. The grand scheme of all things. Dave Stern and Vince McMahon, they say, we need another juggernaut. Not a ripoff, not someone else that could say it's who it is, but it's not compared to Jordan and Hogan. So on comes LeBron James for David Stern and John Cena for Vince McMahon. And the marketing behind these people, the hype was so far-fetched with these two that they pushed them down our throats. They expected us to think that just because they say so, that these guys are the future of the sport, that we're supposed to sit there and just say, well, okay, we'll take it. We'll sit back and watch it. And with me, I've been watching LeBron James for a while now, and I really think that in a way he helped the NBA by gratifying a self-push for his effort, but his choices have tarnished it a little bit. Without David Stern and the referees, he wouldn't be as good as he is. I mean, he's good. Granted, he's good, but he's no Jordan. And John Cena is good with Vince McMahon behind him and the WWE pushing him. But the fans are starting to catch on. As the fans are starting to catch on like they did in the series, the finals this year, they're starting to catch on like I have. And I'm starting to see that LeBron is the golden child. He can do no wrong, like John Cena can do no wrong. LeBron James, in the first quarter, 3 minutes into the first quarter, even if it was 3 minutes, I don't even think it was that long, he goes up and Duncan or Manu Ginobili was guarding him. He goes straight up and he throws the ball up in the air and it goes out of bounds. They call it out of bounds on Duncan. The referees are in LeBron's pocket. They're in David Stern's pocket. They know what's going to make them money. LeBron wins. Everybody's happy. They're going to sell shoes. They're going to sell iPhones. They're going to sell Galaxies. They're going to sell jerseys. They're going to sell tickets. They're going to sell everything. And it's only because if LeBron James wins. Think about it. If the Spurs played the Pacers, no one would have watched. Because they don't want to see scientific ball. They don't want to see finesse players. They don't want to see fundamentally sound players. They don't. That's why Daniel Bryan's not getting pushed in the WWE like John Cena is. They just want to see the raw power, the big fireworks starter, just the big picture. They want to see what they came and paid for. That's the reason LeBron gets to stay in the games. He went 18 games one time without a personal foul. I don't understand how you can do this. How you can have all this happening and the fans not catch on. It's ridiculous, some of the things that LeBron got away with. And some of the things that Cena gets away with. He can just sit there and get beat to death and then all of a sudden pop up like Superman and we're supposed to buy into this. LeBron, even though LeBron and all the players in the NBA have to still make the shots, it's just the point of the referees calling it tighter to keep the games close. Just like John Cena has to go out there and bury everybody to win the title and keep his status as the new Hogan, as the new big man in wrestling. Just like LeBron James, he has to keep his status as the Sprite, the whatever. Just he's got a commercial with that song, Imagine Dragons or whatever, the song that's all over the movies and everything. He's got that in his Galaxy commercial or Dr. Dre headphones. I mean, it's just all about making money, and that's the only way David Stern sees that he can make money is that to stay with LeBron and keep it close. The Spurs should have won this series. Duncan is a whole lot better than, I mean, the Spurs in a whole are a whole lot better than the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat is the new age of ball. The Spurs are the old age of ball. Like Cena is the new age of wrestling, and Kane and Undertaker are old school. I mean, they just don't make them like they used to. And LeBron would have never lasted in the Jordan era. And anyway, with all this conspiracy and everything, I don't even know why Joey Crawford got the referee tonight. With this vendetta that he has against Tim Duncan, he ejected him one time in 2007 for laughing. Not even knowing if he laughed at him, but he ejected Tim Duncan for laughing on the bench. And he asked him if he wanted to fight. That's how bad that they would start even personal drama with a player. The referee would start a personal drama with a player like a storyline. Even if it wasn't a storyline, it should have never happened. With all these things against the Spurs, how could they even have a chance? How does it go from a last-second shot in the first game to a 25-point blowout in the second game, to a close game in the third, 35-point blowout in another game for the Spurs, and then in Game 5 it was close again, and then Game 6 it was close again. I mean, the refs are keeping it close. It's been this way for the past 20 years in the NBA since Jordan left. They got to keep the money makers close, even if they have to. If a game's a blowout, they start calling it tight. If somebody threatens Cena, they decide to bury them, just like Ryback. It's just they don't want change. They want what makes them money. That's all they care about is money, 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 and it will never get better, because maybe with David Stern leaving, it may get better. Maybe with Triple H running it, it may get better. But honestly, as long as they keep pumping money into this LeBron James and John Cena, they're going to be happy. But when the fans start catching on and questioning it, like we already are, they're going to have to change it up, or we're all going to get sick of what we're seeing. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, we all have a video camera, we all have internet, and we all have an opinion.